What up, my people, and welcome to Do Not Disturb podcast. It is your boy Josh, aka Smooth Stewart. What's good, people? We facing a lot of issues right now in America, dealing with police brutality, dealing with racial issues, systematic issues, and we getting sick of it. We tired of it. We've been dealing with it for too long. So what I'm doing now, I want to take my platform and I want to build my platform to be a voice for people that want to be heard, to be a voice for people that cannot be heard, and we all have a voice. So I have the platform to make it happen, and damn it, I'm gonna make it happen. So I'm bringing some of my friends with me along the way that's gonna share their ideologies, whether I agree or not. And it's about time we take a stand. So tonight, I am bringing in a special guest of mine, Miss Julia May from Patterson, Louisiana. Miss Julia May. Miss Julia, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Um, how you holding up mentally? How you holding up mentally right now? I like to ask everybody that I come in contact with, how are they feeling mentally? Because most of the time we ask people how they feeling, um, we're referencing to the physical aspect of it, right?
Right.
So I feel like especially going through times like we're going through right now, I feel like it's very detrimental for us to ask each other how are we mentally. So how are you mentally, Miss Julia? How you holding up?
Mentally, I'm doing well when it comes to mentally because with my faith in God, that has
Yeah,
helped me. That has kept me sane when it comes to mentally. It has been a challenge though, watching all the things that's going on in the world right now. So mentally, it could be challenging if your faith wasn't in
absolutely,
the right place. Yeah, it could be really challenging.
absolutely. Um, I wake up in the same mood every morning, and when I say that, it's to pretty much I don't like to let negative things I don't like to let negative things into my life and interfere with what I got going on, right?
Right.
So, but lately I just been waking up in a slump, kind of, and it's kind of been messing up my normal routine because every day is something else, and we've been dealing with this for a long, long
A
time now.
long time.
You know, um, you've done some amazing things in the community, Miss Julia, and you still are.
Thank you.
Um, Patterson, Louisiana, appreciate you. We appreciate you, uh, and I'm pretty sure your family appreciates you, and it's just pushing you to do more in your community. What can we do to fix this problem? What can we do? Our part. What can we do?
Well, to answer that question, it's simple. We can all do our part. First, we have to make sure that we're able to vote. Voting is the biggest thing. I mean, we have to grab our children, our friends, our family, the neighbors down the street, children. We have to make sure that at 18 and over, they can do their part when it comes to voting. That's the first
Mm,
step.
absolutely,
That is the first step.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I know I've been registered to vote since I was 18, so that never been a problem of mine.
But
Um,
we have a lot of youngsters that's not registered to vote,
that's
and
true.
the first thing they'll say is, "Well, my vote's not going to count." That's
Hmm.
not true. That is the biggest understatement that you could possibly make when you say your vote is not going to count because every vote counts. That's where it
Right.
starts first. And and
Yep.
then after we get past the voting part, then we have to get to the parts where when you see something, you say something.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
What I think this what I think we should do. I think we should try to police our own neighborhoods. And
Absolutely.
um, I know, and not to put your age out there or anything like that. So please don't take this the wrong way, because you are,
It's
Miss
okay
Julia,
though.
you don't look a day over 30.
Oh, well, thank you very
but
much.
but I know back in the day that's probably what y'all used to do mostly, right? Like it took a village back then, and even when with us growing up,
Right.
I'm 36, so even with us growing up, it was if you across town doing one thing, such and such mama going, your mama gonna know before you get back home,
Exactly.
and
Absolutely.
that's with the parenting, but I think we could do the same thing with policing our neighborhoods too.
Police in our neighborhoods would be a help. It would be a start. Now, in order to do that, that has to be a community-wide event there, police in their neighborhoods.
Hmm.
We were able to do that when growing up. Like you said, if you did something, your parents knew that before you were able to make it home.
Yeah,
Today, the problem we run into now, and I know you're aware of that, is a lot of parents out there, they don't want you to correct their children. And when you
that's
said it
true.
takes a village to raise a child, it does. It takes a village to raise a child. And
Yeah,
even when we were growing up, we were able to be corrected by other parents. You know, we would take our correction. Today, you're kind of leery about what you can and cannot say to someone else's child because of the
yeah.
repercussions that can come afterwards.
Yeah, because you got to deal directly with the parent, then you got to deal with crazy lawsuits that people are entitled to these days or feel entitled to, and
Right?
it's like everybody wants something out of everything they dealing with.
Everything that they're
Um,
dealing with.
I appreciate it as a parent. I appreciate when parents are older or his elders see him doing things and they correct him,
Right.
um, whether you know him or not. And I know my son is not always correct,
Right.
so and it's a way to do it too. But that's just like when me and one of my friends was talking the other day, and it's different all the way down to when we play sports and stuff. It's like parents don't want you telling their kids nothing as a athletic coach, or you can't even be a mentor these days. It's really hard to do that.
It is hard to do that. You're absolutely correct. And even with mine, with my grandchildren, and I'll tell them, hey, you'd rather cry now than for me or your parents to cry later. So if you
Absolutely.
do something, I'm going to correct you. I tell it, even my friends' children, when they're around and their grandchildren, y'all know who I am now. If you don't want me to correct them, then you're going to have to keep them away from me because I'm one of those disciplinarians. I'm one of those
Right.
that I don't mind correcting because I'd rather correct you now than for the system to correct you later.
That's right. That's
Hmm.
right. And then you would, you know, later on be like, "Oh, poor baby." You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing you
Right.
could do about it. Then it's over with.
That's right.
He pretty much lost in the system, and that's
Absolutely.
that's what we trying to break. We trying to bridge that gap. You know
And
what I'm saying? We trying
and
to
we
we
can do that. We can actually do that. And it's going to take a lot of cooperation. It's going to take a lot of
hmm
trust, but it can be done. It can
I
be done. Sometimes
I
it
agree
only
with
takes a
that.
positive word, that because you never know what a person is going through. And you were right when you said mentally, you have to ask that person how they're doing mentally. Because sometimes just a hello, a hug, just something simple can change the
Yep.
whole atmosphere of a person's attitude.
That's right. It's all about how you embrace somebody, and how you bring them into your space.
Yes.
That's important too, for real. So what can we do? I'm sorry. What are your thoughts on the police brutality and the things that are going down all across America right now?
I'm deeply disturbed by that. And as a mother, I have a Black son, I have a husband, I have grandchildren, I have a brother, I have a nephew. The list goes on and on. I have 9 sisters, and we all have sons. I have family and friends. But, Josh, the part for me is I've been on both sides, coming from law
Right.
enforcement and being a parent. So I've been on both sides. And it saddens me to know that because we take an oath to protect and serve is what our jobs are when we take that oath. And um, too many times here we have seen where it's gotten out of control.
Hmm.
African American, unarmed African Americans have lost their lives. Just in 2015, there was over 100 unarmed African Americans to lose their lives to police brutality, and that number continues to grow as the years are passing by. And
Mm.
like I said, I'm deeply saddened by that because the look that they have given officers, it's not a good look at this point. Even
That's true.
the good ones are having to suffer for the bad ones, and there are some good ones out there, but the bad ones and the actions of the bad ones are overshadowing the good ones.
Yeah, and you say the good ones meaning the police, right?
The good police officers
The
that's out there.
officers, absolutely, absolutely. I do agree with that. I know for sure, and I'm gonna tell you one thing because I just did the one man protest thing in,
Yes.
in Patterson, right?
Yes.
So my word is my word, and I stand on it, and I don't break it for nobody because it's really all I have in this world.
Absolutely.
Um, but I felt kind of bad doing it in Patterson because I know, and it wasn't about like even with the one that I'm doing tomorrow at Taco Bell. It's not about making people look bad.
No.
It's about bringing awareness to what's wrong and the things that we need to fix in America and the things that we need to make right.
Absolutely.
So it's not about saying, "Hey, you did that to George Floyd." All the police are like that because if you look at it from another perspective, Miss
Mm-hmm.
Julia, it's like saying, "Oh, there's a thug. He killed somebody, so the rest of them thugs."
No.
So it's kind of like the point that we are trying to. It's like what we're trying to come out of by saying every police is, all police are the same. It's kind of like we contradicting ourselves. You know
Exactly
what I
right.
mean?
Exactly right. And we don't want to stereotype all police because they're not all the same. Now you do have some bad apples out there, but you have some really good police officers that's out there. Now, one of the things that I have learned over the years, now the police officers, the good police officers, once they've seen something, they've recognized something, they can go to the superiors, to the sergeants, to the captains, and then they become ostracized. Every other
Mm,
police officer now, nobody wants to deal with them because they're the good guys. So now that police officer is left out there by himself. When he's on a complaint and he needs backup, he can't get backup because all of the rest of the police are looking at him now as if he's going to stay on the straight and narrow. He's going to cause us a problem. So he's left out there by himself.
right. Yes. Yes. That is true. Miss Julia, let me ask you this. Being that you were, and you just recently stated that you were a former, police officer, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
Um, let's say something like this is going down. I'm not sure of how long. When you were employed at the, for the force.
Mhm.
Let's say something like this were to happen, right? At that time you were employed. What kind of talk would be going on in the police station? You don't have to get into detail with it, but just briefly, like,
Well, I tell you what,
what was the communication like?
I can tell you what we were blessed that we didn't have to deal with anything like that, um, because we policed each other when we were with the department that I worked with. So we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have good cop, bad cop. We had, thank God, we had no incidents where we had to face any of this type of racial discrimination or police brutality. Thank God we hadn't
Mm.
had to deal with any of that. Um, so I could truly say that when we hear of things like that happening in other agencies and other departments, it disturbed us deeply because we know that that's not the oath that we took. We vowed to protect and
Right.
save lives and not take lives.
Exactly. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Julia, is there anything that you want to add to our conversation? Anything that you had jotted down? Anything that's just off the top of your head that's on your mind?
The most important thing is when growing up, raising my children. Okay, I have two grown children, and I would always tell them, look, if the police stop you, you comply. Whatever they tell you to do, that's what you need to do. Now, looking at these recent events here, especially Mr. George Floyd, who lost his life right in front of the whole entire world. He was doing
Mm.
everything that he was supposed to do. So now I've been asked this question: what do you tell your children now when they look at this and they're doing everything they're supposed to do and they're still losing their lives? What do you tell them then? My answer to
Mm.
that is you continue to comply. You continue to do what they're asking you to do. You continue to do just that, and we'll take care of everything else afterwards. But if they tell you to put your hands up, lay it down, whatever they tell you to do, comply with that, because by the grace of God, somebody's going to step in and intervene. And with this recent event, the whole world is watching. Everybody now is watching. So hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
because of this, we can kind of deter from those bad ones that's out there, the bad police officers that's doing what they're doing. Hopefully, this is going to shed a light where everybody is going to uncover. And when you said it didn't happen in Patterson, I'm glad you said that. No, it didn't happen in Patterson, but there's a lot of people here that still needs to be made aware of what's actually going out there, on out there. They know it.
Yes.
They turn the blind eye to it because they look at it and say, well, it's not my child, or they're not having to deal with it. But by
Yep.
not saying anything, you're just as guilty by not saying anything. So no, it didn't happen here, but I'm glad you did that here because it does make people stop and say, but it could.
I pray I rattled some cages around there last week. I did it off of impulse too. It was out of my sleep.
Oh,
You
you
know, I
see?
woke up out of my sleep and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna skip the gym today and go get me two signs and, express myself because we have the right to express
And we
ourselves.
do have the right to express ourselves. And it's unfortunate that there's looting going on and the violence that's happening. That's unfortunate. And I really believe that the ones that's out there doing that, they are career looters. That's what they do. So they're
Yeah.
out there and they're making it bad for themselves because the ones who's having the peaceful protests, they're being heard, but they're overshadowing the positive thing that's going on with that. And that is bringing awareness to the racial discrimination that's been going on forever. And
And is that media, Miss Julia?
it,
Is that media?
it is the media. It's the
Is that
media.
because they look, they all this stuff going on, and you know, people are walking towards the right thing, but they sifting through that crowd to find all the bad stuff.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
It does. Mhm.
And that's how we were raised. So if you a TV head or really into the media stuff and watch the news like that, that's what raised you.
That's right.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So they got to give us what we want. You know?
That's absolutely because I said that just the other day because I do a little episode called Tea Talk and I kind of talk about little things that goes on, but
Nice.
you know you'll find that the views are down because they don't want you to be doing something positive. If you're bringing
Yep.
something negative, they got you. Your ratings are way up there. So the news is
That's
doing
true.
just that, giving them what they want. But I thank God for
And
people like you who's out there taking a whole different tone, bringing it to a whole nother level.
yes, 505 million. I'm in here strong and I'm standing tall too.
Oh, hey, and guess what?
For
And I'm with
real.
you. I'm with you. So we
I
gonna
know
stand
you
there
are, my
together.
sister.
We gonna
Yes,
stand
indeed.
together,
Yes,
hand in
indeed.
hand, until we can make a change.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I love you, sister, and I thank you for coming on tonight, for real, because we really needed that. We needed that you to share that dialogue. So
Thank you
I
too. Hey,
appreciate
and I
you.
love you, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. I think it's great, and if we can get more involved, the more involved we
Hmm.
are stronger in number. We are
That's the
stronger in
goal.
number.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you one more thing before I let you go.
Uh huh.
You see, this protesting and stuff like that, and really showing who we are. We need to do that. I'm sorry. We definitely need to do that. When there's nothing going on.
That's right.
You know, we need to do that before tragedy strikes.
Exactly.
You know what
You're
I mean?
exactly right. You're exactly right. And I'm going to leave you with this. We have peace on the left, justice on the right. Peace on the
Hmm.
left, justice on the right. And that's what
I
we're looking
love
for.
that.
We're looking for peace, but we're looking for justice on the end.
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes, ma'am. Have a great night, okay?
Awesome. And you do the same. And thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you.
sweetheart.